Good evening and welcome to the Taverham High School Next Steps evening event. We're really sorry we can't have you all into school to see us in person, to present to you in person, but obviously the current situation means that for your safety and for the safety of the whole school community, it's much safer for us to present to you online. Thank you for taking the time to look at this presentation. If you have any queries at any point after the presentation, please get in touch with us through the school and we'll be happy to support you. This event, this recording, is going to look at two things. Firstly, I'm going to introduce the evening, and I'm going to take you through looking at the year ahead for Year 11s, then talk about a little bit about the options available to students, and then I'm going to introduce you to a website called Help You Choose, which will help Year 11 students identify where they might go when they finish with us at the end of next summer. I'm going to pass over to Mr. Linnell, who is our head of sixth form, who will tell you a little bit more about the sixth form centre at the school. Okay, so as the slide in front of you says, the bad news is that from now on time flies, but the good news is you're the pilot. Year 11 is going to go ever so quickly. We are now in September. In 9 months' time, you'll be through into exam season. That time is really going to fly. And as you'll be very aware, there was a lot of time outside of school last year, so there's an awful lot of work to do. But as the second part of this phrase says, the good news is exactly that you are the pilot. How successful you are going forward from now is dictated purely by what you do over the next 6 to 8 to 9 months. We're going to look first of all at some of the factors that will get you to the kind of where you want to be in terms of your post-16 opportunities. The first one is this: it's around your attendance to school. 90% attendance, which 90% sounds good. If I got 90% in a test, I'd be really pleased, equates to half a day missed every single week or a day every fortnight. Now, research suggests that if you miss 17 days or more during a school year, you could end up with 1 grade less at GCSE than you would have done otherwise. And to put that into context, at 90% attendance over a whole year is 4 whole weeks of education missed. That's a really significant chunk of time. So one of the things I really want you to concentrate as a year group this year is to get into school as much as possible. We've made every effort we can possibly make to make our school a safer environment for you as possible to learn in. You have a distinct bubble, an area of your own, so you're not mixing with other year groups as well. And we're going to put lots and lots of resource into that area to make it as safe as for you to be in school as possible, but also so there's as much as you can access as much as possible in that area as well. But obviously you've got to do your part, and obviously we're coming up to the kind of winter months of snuffles and sneezes and colds and coughs, and while we want you to continue to be really aware of COVID and the symptoms of that particular disease, what we want you to do is, where you can be in school safely, we want you to be in school as much as possible. The next thing, very simply, and this is, you'll have heard this ever since year 7, is around your behaviour and your conduct. My joke there is be good, I will text Santa. That's obviously something I tell my own children. But for you, really what we want you to do is not challenge teachers, not spend time working against teachers. We want you to work with teachers and work with the rest of our staff to make sure you're not using up any of their time that they could be giving to you to help you achieve dealing with nonsense or silly behaviours. And you've come back to school, returned to school in September with a really positive mind frame, and that's shown in your behaviours in class as well. And we're really pleased about that. But you've got to keep that going now. You've got to make sure that it takes you up to mocks, then all the way past Christmas, then all the way up to Easter, then all the way up to the exams. And it's going to be a slog, but you've got to keep focused on the end goal, and that's to get these really important qualifications to give you access to post-16 opportunities. As importantly, though, is if somebody isn't behaving properly, if someone is taking up your classroom time, let us know. Let us have the opportunity to do something about it. We want you to be able to do your very best in school and to be able to achieve the very best you can. And as I said earlier, the work you put in now and the effort you put in now will reap benefits in the future. The more time you spend learning, the better your outcomes will be. And there's no kind of science about that. It's just a fact of life. If you work harder at something, in the long run, you'll get better results, better outcomes. Now, we don't know what next year is going to look like. We are told at the moment that all of your exams that we expect you to have your GCSEs in the summer term will happen as planned. You have to be prepared for that, and energy you spend now won't be wasted. There won't be a waste of time. But you have to really try. You have to really put the effort in now. And then the last thing I want you to do is don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't suffer in silence. If you're stuck on something, if there's something you need teachers to support you with, get that support. Our staff love working with young people. That's why we do it for a living. It's not always easy, but it's why we teach for a living. Please make the most of that opportunity by asking for help and seeking out opportunities to get help from people. So what's year 11 going to look like? Well, your kind of next big marker is your mock exams. They will start on Monday, the 23rd of November this year. They may look a little bit different to what you thought mock exams might have looked like in the past. We may not do it in the hall. We may not be able to do that for COVID reasons. It's likely that they may be in classrooms, but they are still going to be really important markers as to how well you're achieving and how much you know and how much learning you need to do going forward. You have Year 11 Parents' Evening on the 11th of January, which will be an opportunity for families to talk to teaching staff. Again, as ever, we hope to be able to host that in school, but we can't say for sure at the moment that's going to happen. You'll receive regular teacher feedback, and that will be in any number of forms, and we'll talk a bit more about feedback later on. And all of that will roll into the summer exam series. Now, we're provisionally told at the moment they'll run from the 14th of May till the 29th of June. So if you are thinking of booking summer holidays and those sorts of things for next year, they must be after the 29th of June, which is the National Contingency Day for examinations. And then your big day, the exam results day, will be on 26th of August 2021. And we really hope to have you in school celebrating on those days to reap the rewards of all that hard work that's been over the last year. I can't speak more highly of planning your revision in advance. The amount of you have to learn over the next year will seem enormous, and it will come to a point where you'll say, goodness, that's far more work than I thought I had to do. The only way to make that feel manageable is to break it down into bite-sized pieces and to plan your revision. And the way you should do that is using a timetable for your revision. Now, I've put a very simple one together here, and yours might be even more detailed than that. You may look at hour to hour or morning and afternoon sessions. But over the next few weeks, you need to be really thinking about, in preparation for your mocks, how you're going to prepare for those mock papers, what exam preparation you're going to do, and what that's going to look like on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. Be clever about it. Make sure you're planning breaks. Make sure you're planning downtime and activities with friends and family as well. But it's really important that you start thinking about that already. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier that we'd talk a bit more about feedback. This year is going to be a really tough year for you in terms of the amount of feedback you get. And it won't always be positive feedback. At times, you'll be told things you don't want to hear. At times, you'll be told your work hasn't met the grade that we want you to meet. You'll be told that actually you're off the point on some of the things. But hopefully, you also feel lots of praise and lots of times where you're rewarded for things you've done really well. Even if the feedback you're receiving isn't positive at all times, it will hopefully be useful. And please receive that feedback in a way it's intended. Our colleagues want to work with you. My colleagues want to work with you in classrooms and outside in revision sessions to give you the best opportunity to succeed that we can. Now, with that, we're going to have to be able to say to you and have conversations with you that say, look, I'm sorry, that isn't quite good enough. You've missed the point here. You need to do this better. Don't take it critically. Don't take it badly. Don't take it as an insult. Take it in the way we mean it. We want you to work with us to improve those points, to be able to improve the outcomes for you. That feedback should be in lots of different sources. You'll get some written feedback on formal exam papers, on marking in books, on key pieces of work, but also on a day-to-day basis in your lessons, you'll get verbal feedback. Listen to all of it, absorb all of it, make note of all of it, and make sure the next time you get the opportunity, you improve on that. So what's next? Which way next? What options are there available to you? I think the first thing to consider is this. Once you finish high school at age 16, you then have a requirement to stay in full-time education, for example, at a college, and that's what most people will do. Start an apprenticeship or traineeship, or spend around 20 hours or more per week working or volunteering while in part-time education or training. That's a legal responsibility until you're 18 years of age. So you need to start thinking about what you're going to do when you leave us at 16, when you leave your normal high school setting. As I say, most people will come to sixth form. Many of them will come to our sixth form. Mr. Linnell will talk to you later on about our sixth form in more detail. But whatever happens, you have to start making a plan. There is no default setting, and there's no option to do nothing either. So what choices do you have? Well, at the moment, most of you are studying for level 2 courses. That's GCSEs and equivalent to those courses. And most students will progress from there on to level 3 courses. Some will continue to study level 2 courses if they're in different areas or if they need to top up their knowledge. But many students will go into what's called level 3 courses, and lots of those will be A-levels. There are also colleges such as ours and other colleges in the local area will also offer vocational courses, and they're more closely linked with routes into employment rather than A-level, which are sometimes more less linked to individual employment routes. You also have the opportunity to take up apprenticeships, and they are a contract of employment with pay, but with that you also get training for qualifications as well. So there's something to consider as well, and we'll talk more about those later on. If you are interested in apprenticeships, you can Google apprenticeships, which is what I did to produce this screen, and the government has a designated area on its website for apprenticeships. I just filtered to Norfolk and to Norwich, and there were, I think, 27 apprenticeships ranging from, as you can see here, apprenticeship software developer and business administrator, to later on down the list there's a butchery course and those sorts of things. But they're all on the job training as well as having a professional qualification at the outcome at the end of it as well. In terms of how you get the information and how you access these courses, lots of our places will be very competitive. So whether you're thinking of attending Taverham Sixth Form Centre, which many of you will do, or other post-16 providers in the area, lots of places are very competitive. So it goes without saying that you need to achieve as well as you possibly can to be able to access your chosen post-16 provision. We know of some sixth form centres in the area that require 5 grade 6s or above, for example, including English, Maths and language. It's important to know that all the qualifications we offer in school will count. Even if you're taking short courses and some things, they will all count as well. But as well as that, other relevant experience such as leadership and those of you who are prefects or have been ELF and those sorts of things also need to make sure that's recognised in your applications, because they show a different skill set and a different thing that you offer. It's as important to make sure your interview technique and application right as well. So practice those things at home with families and let us know if we can support in any way. You need to be aware that in order to apply or to research for lots of these things, you need to go onto what's called Help You Choose website. And you can see at the bottom of this page the website address, helpyouchoose.org. And this is a kind of one-stop shop, which is a Norfolk-based website. It gives you careers information and opportunities. It allows you to search certain areas, certain qualifications. So you can look up, for example, in there A-levels or vocational qualifications, or you can look up apprenticeships in there as well. And what it does is it gives you the opportunity to review and compare those courses and those destinations, but also prepare and submit an online application. So it's a really valuable resource, and your PD classes will give you access to Help You Choose and make sure you've logged on and know what you're doing with that. But again, as ever, if there's any issues or any queries, please just get in touch with one of us and we can help you through it. This is what the website looks like. So you can see you would choose your year group. For you would be in year 11, which is the green box, but at the top you can choose an area as well, and that will give you a drop down option of things like apprenticeships and those sorts of things. Have a really good play with it, have a look all the way through it, and make sure when you choose a course and you're looking at a course that you're looking very comparatively at the different courses and seeing what the differences are between them. So what you need to do over the next term, so taking us up to Christmas, you need to look at Help You Choose and complete the My Account section of it. Get logged in, make sure you're on there. You need to start looking at courses and shortlist courses that may be interesting to you. And it may be that you look at some A-level, some vocational and some apprenticeships. And that's absolutely fine at this stage, not a problem at all. Find out about the places that you're looking at. Find out about the venues, find out about the buildings, find out about the facilities, find out about the resources. Go to open days if they're having them, or look online for online events, which are most likely to be this term. And have a really good snoop around all those different places you're looking at, including Taverham Sixth Form. Ask us about it. Come and find out about it. Find out what the difference is about it. And Mr. Linnell will talk to you more about that later as well. Also, make sure you find out if you can get any financial help while you study. There are some grants and bursaries available. Make sure you've investigated that route properly as well. For whatever courses you're looking at, make sure you know when the application needs to be done by and completed by. And really importantly, think about a backup plan. we all got to make sure that we work really hard this year. The ideal is that we get you the results that you want to get your post-16 destination that you're interested in. But we have to accept that that isn't always the case, and sometimes there needs to be a backup plan. So have a think about that as well, and make sure you've researched that backup plan as thoroughly as you have your plan A. And then finally, complete an online application form for Help You Choose and send it off. As Mr. Linnell will tell you later on, it's really important, whatever you're looking at post-16, that you really scrutinise it and ask some questions of it. What are the class sizes going to be like? What qualifications are available? What's the range of qualifications? What does the resources look like for sixth form students? Have you got a designated area for yourself, or are you mixed in with year 7 to 11? And different places will suit different people better, but please make sure you've done your research on that. So thank you for listening to my short presentation today. I'm going to pass over now to Mr. Linnell, who's our head of sixth form, who's going to talk to you more about the sixth form at Taverham High School. As I said earlier, if you have any questions, want to get in touch with us, please do so through the school office. Thank you again.
Good evening, I'm Mr. Linnell, and I'm proud to say I'm Head of Sixth Form here at Taverham Sixth Form. And following on from Mr. Yassin's presentation, this is just a short overview about why you should consider Taverham Sixth Form as a potential destination for the next stage in your studies. So as Mr. Yassin has probably outlined, it is really important, although it might seem very premature at the beginning of year 11, to be thinking about what to do next. This is because all post-16 providers, colleges and sixth forms will be looking at your GCSE results for your entry requirements. And we are very inclusive here at Taverham. We have very competitive entry requirements, and we require just 6 level 4s, including maths and English, to get into our A-level programme. And we also provide, which is quite unusual, an access programme for those who've missed out on their English or maths level 4 or slightly below the entry requirements, to really help you get into sixth form as well, and follow on to A-levels in the subsequent years. But it's really, really important, and that's why it's so important you know this up front, so as you work through year 11 you can achieve your best and get on to your next steps. So at Taverham, one of the things we're very proud of is we offer a huge variety of subjects, and you can see them there on the slide. Some of them will seem familiar, like geography or English or business studies, but there are also some new ones as well, like photography, politics, classics, which we offer at A-level. And we really hope that when you're thinking about what to do, you can narrow down your options to the things you're most interested in. And that's one reason why sixth form is so different to main school. There's no compulsory subjects. It's about you doing what you want to do and you feel most passionately about. And you'll only be choosing 3 subjects for your A-level programmes. We allow students to start on 4 if they're not sure between a couple of subjects, particularly if they're new subjects. But ultimately, you're narrowing down from doing sort of 10 GCSEs to just 3 subjects. And some of those might be brand new, like psychology or sociology, for example. And again, I would think really carefully about what you're going on to, because if you're thinking about maybe going to a university course or a career in medicine, then there'll be certain qualifications you need, like for example chemistry and mathematics in that case. Most subjects beyond sixth form do not require specific A-levels, and so in that case, unless you're going on to something quite specialist, and you can find out about what they require on their websites, then I would just choose things that you really enjoy, things that you're interested in, because of course if you're interested in something, you're bound to succeed. And one thing we do at Taverham, which we pride ourselves on, is we don't have set option blocks. Instead, we wait for you to all apply, and we look who's applied, and then we try and make the subjects fit, so as many people as possible can get their first choice, and we get about 98% success rate of matching students with all their choices. So it's a really good way of making sure that you're doing what you want to do. And of course, your application's not set in stone. After you've applied, we will interview you to really check that you're doing the right courses, and then later on, of course, we'll have induction days in the summer, and you can make switches then. And of course, on results day and afterwards, you can swap. And even if you start with us in September 2021, we still allow in the first few weeks students to make subject switches. That's perfectly normal because it's a really big decision. But obviously, if we know your initial choices, then we can make sure we can accommodate those. So as I mentioned, it's really important that you think long term. Many of our students go on to various things after sixth form, some straight into careers, some onto apprenticeships, some onto university. You might not know yet what you want to do, and part of the sixth form will be educating you about what's happening next. But if there is a particular job or a particular career that you do know you want to do, then again, do some research now about what qualifications you need and whether there is certain subject requirements, because again, then you can make sure you're on the right course from the outset. Another great reason for joining us at Taverham is our increasingly good results. This year we had amazing results, as you can see there on the board, and in 2019 we also had record-breaking results. So we're very, very, very proud and have some of the best students in the county with a number of Norfolk scholars. And so again, you should feel confident that if you do choose to stay with us, that you have all the benefits of succeeding. And one of the reasons for those results is not only really good specialist teachers in the sixth form. We've got specialists in things like sociology, for example, that you won't necessarily have seen in the main school, or psychology. But we've also got really good resources and competitively small class sizes, and that means your average class size in sixth form is going to be around 10. Some of the subjects slightly smaller than that, some slightly larger, but certainly well below the sort of high 20s or 30 odd that you would have in a GCSE class. And that means a teacher can spend a lot more time with you, giving you advice, giving you support and giving you feedback, and in that sense you get really good value for money. And again, that's something to look at if you're looking at other college and sixth forms as well. Ask what are the class sizes, because again, we often find that our students are very lucky to have relatively small groups, and obviously that's something we feel really benefits them and their outcomes. And we hope, like our previous sixth formers, you'll be able to go on to whatever you want. And this year we've had students go all across the country. You can see from Cambridge University to locally at UEA to the University of Nottingham. And they've been studying a variety of subjects, from veterinary science to aeronautics to more classical subjects like ancient history. And again, we really is no limit on what you can do, whether you want to stay locally. We had about 15 students go to UEA this year, for example, or far away as somewhere like the University of Cumbria. So it really is a great amount of choice, and we hope to continue supporting our students on to what they want to do. Of course, we've also had students go on to local and national apprenticeships, and some to go straight into work where they're already applying their skills and getting training as well. So again, whatever is right for you, we will help you with during your time at sixth form. Another really great reason for studying at Taverham sixth form is that we have brand new state-of-the-art facilities. As you can see on the YouTube clip attached in the presentation, we have study booths, we have our own computer suites that are dedicated just to sixth formers, we have specialist areas with really comfy seating, our own sixth form library, free Wi-Fi and printing throughout the sixth form as well. And this study area is a silent place throughout the day where students go and work. In the sixth form corridor, we've got our own toilets and lockers facilities, and we've also got a large common room. So if you want to work but also talk or spend some time at break time, we've got cooking facilities and kitchenette facilities, again more computers, and again a nice relaxed area where sixth formers can go. And this gives a very unique environment to students, so they can feel more adult and yet still benefit by going into the main school, and once they enter there, benefiting from the good teaching and the great facilities in the main school. I can't emphasise enough how different to school Taverham sixth form is. It's the best of both. You still get the familiarity of the area, the great facilities we have at Taverham, and the familiarity of some of the teachers, and the use of their specialist equipment like science labs and DT workshops. But at the same time, it's a lot of unique things to sixth form. So we're much smaller, less than half the size of a year group in year 7 to 11. We have our own areas that we've just shown you. We've also got lots of enrichment opportunities, so volunteering, learning to cook, learning to banking, all the life skills that you will need for when you leave sixth form, as well as sporting opportunities. We offer trips, for example, the photograph there, up to Newcastle University or to conferences in London for your subjects. We have no uniform requirement other than wearing your sixth form lanyard and badge. Again, nice and and easy, simplified uniform, so you can feel much more like yourself and feel comfortable as an individual. We allow mobile phones and headphones in the sixth form centre, so again, you can have those in to help you, if they help you study, or you can use your phones for study as well by connecting to the Wi-Fi. We offer our students home study, which means that during some of the times when you haven't got timetabled lessons on your timetable, you can leave site and go home, or the same at lunchtime, for example, or break time. Then that allows you to, again, be a bit more adult, so you can come and go. Again, if you're lucky enough to pass your driving test and have a car, then you'll see our students have their own car park at sixth form as well, so they can come and go as they please. And we also register you biometrically, so in and out electronically, and again that means you're not having to go to form tutors every day and to sign in. And finally, of course, we're really proud at Taverham of our fundraising. Our Ragfest week is a really great week. Last year we raised nearly £5,000, and I think over £30,000 in the last 5 years. So again, we're really pleased that as a community as well. Many of our sixth formers compete to become members of the sixth form leadership, and from there they take part in organising not only things like the prom, but also charity and things in the main school as well, which some of you might have seen. So finally, to round up, we hope that we have a really good package for our students, and we'd like you to consider us alongside anywhere else that you're also going to be looking at. Make sure you ask lots of questions to find out as much about all your options, and remember you can apply to multiple places. It's worth always viewing places as well, including of course Taverham Sixth Form, to see really how different it is. We have our open evening on the 11th of November, and we'll be streaming lots of information to you for that. And again, if you want to make an application, then an application form will be available from that date on our website, and we're also available and help you choose. So again, you can hopefully put an application, come for an interview with myself or one of my colleagues, and we can answer any questions you've got and hopefully get you set up for your next stage in your studies. So thank you for listening, and good luck with your next choices.